Zero illegal migration equals zero terror attacks.
Who says it all of the time? Ben Shapiro. Facts don't care about your feelings. It's right here. Zero illegal migration equals zero terror attacks. The maths. This is Dominik Tarczyński. He is a Polish politician, a member of the European Parliament with a fiery message. We'll go back to some of his old footage and take a look at why Poland is setting the example for what all of Europe should be.
Zero illegal migration equals zero terror attacks.
Who says it all of the time? Ben Shapiro. Facts don't care about your feelings. It's right here. Zero illegal migration equals zero terror attacks. The maths.
Safest place in Europe. That's very simple. That's a common sense. That's nothing unusual for us, for Polish, to be brave, to believe in our own nation, to love our families, to take care about our families and our country, and then think about someone else. 123 years non-existence on the map, and our nation survived. Not only that, the same month Russians attacked, and we were occupied after the war for 70 years by the Soviets. So we had to, once we freed our nation from the communism, we knew what the freedom is. We understood much better than others what it means to give up your freedom, to give up your land, to give up your culture. And now we are so homogenic society. We love it. We love our culture. We love our language. We love our food. We love our family values.
If you're not fired up after watching this clip, I don't know what to tell you. You can tell good versus bad leadership. You can tell somebody, a member of the European Parliament, somebody who truly cares deeply about his people. And why do I know that this is true? Because this isn't just a 50 to 60 second clip that him and his team took to put on Twitter just because it captivates you, right? We're going to go back to some of his old footage of him talking about how exactly Poland has done such a great job of clean sweeping, getting rid of any cancer, any possibilities of cancer coming in, and you'll see that it has absolutely nothing to do with religion.
It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with Islamophobia. It's all about safety. As I said previously, everyone is allowed to apply. Everyone is allowed to submit the documents, ask for a permission, ask for a visa, and then our interior minister will decide if he's needed for our society.
He's talking about the policies internally in Poland of applying to migrate, to go there. And he just said that it doesn't have to do with your religion. Anybody can apply. If he and Poland and Polish people were Islamophobic, there would be a rule that Muslim people, Arab people, can't apply to come. That's not the case in Poland. And I think there is a very clear distinction, and I hate it when the pro-Palestine movement always likes to say, I can't criticize Israel, I can't criticize Jewish people without being labeled anti-Semitic. That's not true. I'm Jewish, I am pro-Israel, and I criticize the Israeli government when it needs to be criticized. I criticize policy when it needs to be criticized, and I'm not anti-Semitic. So you can support Israel and their right to defend themselves, and you can also criticize the Israeli government, criticize anything about Israeli policy internally. You can say those things publicly. And why am I then not being called anti-Semitic? You can't have both.
The difference between immigration and refugees as a legal difference. You are mixing words. It's very important because the difference is quite big. First of all, refugee is the person who flees to the first safe country by the international law. Immigrant, especially illegal immigrant, is not welcome in Poland. This is what we promised, and these words will be kept.
So if that's what a refugee is, which is what a refugee is, why is every Palestinian holding refugee status? Why is it that I spoke to a Palestinian who's living in Canada, was born in Canada, and is a refugee? Refugee, he was born in Canada. But why does he get to then hold refugee status? I'm not entirely understanding that, especially when you look at the difference of somebody who is considered a refugee, who has had to escape, versus somebody who is migrating.
Basically, we are not talking about people who are in need. We are not talking about Muslims. We are talking about a law, international law and Polish law. We don't want any illegal migration in Poland. This is what we promised. This is why our government was elected. And not even one Muslim illegal migrant will come to Poland, ever.
You have to ask yourself why there is little to no jihadist ideology in Poland. The jihadist ideology is this global movement which has, everybody knows what Hamas is nowadays, right? It's turned into an actual movement. It's turned into something that people cheer for and support for internationally. People buy Hamas gear, flags, bandanas, shirts. It's become something to be proud of, but they don't really know what they're representing. Poland knows exactly that they cannot include any of that into their society because they see the effect of what something like that cancer could potentially do to a people, to a nation, to a group. Those who are in Hamas, as in the members that carried out October 7th, the ones who built the Hamas infrastructure in the Gaza Strip, those people are Muslim people. That's not being Islamophobic. That is defining them by literal terms. They are Muslims. They're not Jews. They're not Christians. They're Muslim people in that space. Does that mean that all Muslim people are bad, are part of Hamas? No. But the jihadist ideology stems from Muslim people, radical Muslim people. Facts don't care about your feelings. You can't tell me that the Jewish community in Miami, the Jewish community in California, the Christian community in Portugal, the atheist community in China, you can't tell me that these people are radical jihadists representing Hamas. You can't find anyone like that because they don't exist. So why do we just not look at the facts? In Dominik's first video, he talked about how Polish people are so proud to be Polish, why they love Poland, their people, their culture, their food, their traditions, being together, celebrating the nation that they were able to build, which I think is a model, a role model should be for any other nation, any other country in Europe, outside of Europe. You should want to have leaders like that who built things from the ground up and have sustained that model for their people. In fact, according to Careers in Poland, Poland ranked among safest countries in the EU. It's not unusual to have some safety concerns when going to a foreign country for the first time. If you're wondering whether Poland is a safe place to live, you may want to take a look at the recent Eurostat findings. According to Eurostat, around 11% of the EU's population reported a crime, violence, or vandalism in their neighborhood in 2019. The share of people reporting such incidents varied considerably across countries, but inhabitants of cities were, overall, 3 times more likely to report occurrences of crime and violence than Europeans living in rural areas. Check this out. Out of all surveyed member states, Croatia seemed to be the safest with the lowest share of reported crimes in 2019, 2.7%. Lithuania and Poland followed closely behind with 3.2 and 4.4% of shares respectively. By contrast, the highest occurrence of neighborhood crime, violence or vandalism was observed in Bulgaria, 20.2%, in Greece, 16.9%, in the Netherlands, 16.3%. Poland is one of the safest places to go to in the EU, period, end of story. They have the leadership and they have the statistics to back it up. Now we can look also on Careers in Poland, what goes with safety. The safer you are, the happier you are. It's easy math, and it is true because the happiest countries in the world in 2024, obviously, Poland is on that list. The World Happiness Report is published in partnership with Gallup, the Oxford Wellbeing Research Center, the UN Sustainability Development Solutions Network, and the WHR's editorial board. Since its first edition in 2012, it has served as a tool for comparing the quality of life in different countries around the globe. Just so you know, Israel in 2023, I believe, was ranked number 5. And if you think about it, what country in the world, after having gone through what they went through on October 7th, would still manage to be listed as the 5th happiest country in the world? It only shows you the resilience of Jewish people, of the nation Am Yisrael. And on top of that, it's about who we are as people, how we look at the world, how Europeans look at the world versus people in the West, versus people in North America, Canada, etc. Polish people tend to be some of the happiest people in Europe, in the world. These show you some of the different factors that they look at, including the GDP per capita, social support, healthy life expectancy, generosity, all these different things to give you an idea of how they're sort of calculating this stuff. And what are the happiest countries in the world 2024 ranking? So 2024, actually, Israel here ranked 5th. I know that you can tell that Poland is not on this top 10 list, but where does Poland place in the ranking of the happiest countries in the world this year? 2024 is when this was published. Poland moved up from 39th to 35th in the World Happiness Report ranking, which is a 4th place progression from the year before. That is a big deal. So you could basically say that Poland is literally one of the happiest countries in the world. We have, I think, something around 200 countries in total. So to be in the top 35 of all of the countries in the world, where you see an incredible amount of despair, an incredible amount of damage, an incredible amount of violence, an incredible amount of hate, an incredible amount of divide, an incredible amount of societies internally not getting along, good leadership, strong leadership, deliberate leadership, consistent leadership, people who really care, they have the effect on these types of things. And it also starts with the people. You might say in a case like Israel, where people are internally sometimes divided, whether it's because of religion or whether it's because of politics, it's beyond that. In any society, you're going to have divide. In any society, you're going to have people who don't get along internally. America, you have Democrats and Republicans. You go anywhere in the world, there's no place that has it figured out. But there are places that have systems and procedures that are put in place to make sure that that ranking continues to get as high up on the list as possible and that the people are heard and felt and satisfied. And so looking at all of this, looking at Poland, I'm not entirely sure why every other country in Europe is not looking at Poland as an example for how they can fix their society, how they can fix their people, how they can fix the status and how they are perceived. Global perception and how we look at other people has a massive impact on economy, on foreign policy, on politics, on people wanting to go and visit, culture. The global perception is extremely important. And who you allow into your country, the things that you allow to happen in your country, how you deal with things that shouldn't be happening, say a lot about how safe people feel, how happy they are, how reliable policies are, how reliable the government is, all of those things. Dominik is somebody who has historically been there for his people, advocating for his people. We need more people in Europe like Dominik to set the stage so that Europe does not fully collapse, because we are seeing it collapse. But we are also seeing at the same exact time, paralleled with all of this turbulence, countries like Poland who continue to be safe, who continue to be happy, and who continue to live and die on their own, by their own sword, by their rules. And you have to go to Poland to go see for yourself and talk to the people there. Listening to this video and looking at these statistics and looking at these articles is one way to do it, but the real way to do it is to go and get acculturated with the people who are there. Interact with the locals, ask questions, see how you feel. See if you feel safe. See if you don't feel safe. Are you happy? Are you not happy? How do the people there treat you? Ask them what their interactions are with other tourists, what their interactions, how they feel about their government. When they feel like they need to be heard, are they being heard? These are the questions that we need to be asking ourselves. Poland has set the stage for what the rest of Europe should look like.